Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope everything's going well. Welcome to another episode of the Sunday Show. I'm Tracy, and I just want to make sure that I can be heard on YouTube. So I'm going to check over there using my phone. So, pardon me real quick while I do that. Hope everybody had a great Sunday and has a great week coming ahead. Um, Okay, so you all can hear me because I can hear myself. Okay, so as usual, we're gonna get this show started here in just a second. Um, yep, hold on a second. I got to send a link. Hold on a second here. Sorry, guys. Just got to do this real quick. Okay, so we're gonna get started here in just a moment. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. So, as you know, this show always starts off by telling you, as of May the 3rd, which is today, there are 130 days until the NFL returns back. Yeah, I'm counting them down. I'm counting them down. I'm counting them down. I don't know if I can make it. I mean, I'm trying to keep myself busy with podcasts like this, but boy, I miss football so badly. But there's only 130 days to come. There's an NFL announcement schedule show, and I'm trying to find out when that is because I might go live that day. Let me see. Let me double check that. Sorry, guys, but I'm just trying to wait for somebody to come on here. So, um, yes, Wednesday, May the 14th, which is 11 days away at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be a NFL schedule release party. So we are looking forward to that. So what Yeah, there he is right there. Hello, Theus.
Hey, Tracy.
So today's topic, let me start off by paying some bills. I did not do that. I just literally skipped that. Subscribe to the channel. We are at 414. I don't know how I lost a subscriber. Please subscribe. I'm still trying to get to that 500. So we got 86 to go before we get there. So hit that, destroy that, obliterate that subscribe button. Support me on Patreon. Patreon support allows me to get way better lighting than what I have now because my lights are going out. And as you can tell, I really need them. So I could use that $2 per month. And I still want to do my Patreon exclusive show. You can support my personal campaign on GoFundMe. And the last announcement, this is a new one. So I'm going to talk about this at the end of the show because the drama camp is going to affect this show. And I'll talk about that later. But essentially, we're trying to raise $3,500 for children's drama camp. I'm one of the people putting on the camp, so we appreciate any contribution, great or small. But again, I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show. So a couple of things I want to talk about, and things I know You're probably going to disagree with my opinion today, but that's okay because you normally do. Um, I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court's scrubbing of the voters' rights, um, and whose fault I think it is. Because I don't think it's just one group. I think it's several groups, and that's probably where we're going to spend the majority of our time. Um, Last week in the comment section, you had made a comment because I was talking about the third attempt, the third assassination attempt. And yeah, I know everybody's got this look, and I'll tell you why I took that approach. And I'll probably talk about that first. And then I want to talk about something. Actually, I saw this on Tim Black's show, and I thought he made a really good point. And it actually goes to my first point about the
You
Congressional
still
Black
on?
Caucus.
Yeah.
Um, so we're going to actually start in the middle. Like I said, it's only 3 topics today, so not a whole lot of topics. And I'm not going to talk about the Michael biopic. I did that yesterday. Go watch my video. I gave you all spoilers. I was like breaking it down. I broke that movie down. And again, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It was a fantastic movie. I hadn't been to the movie since Cats came out in 2019, so it had been a long time since I had been to a movie theater. Really had a great time. But anyway, I want to talk about the Trump third assassination attempt. Um, Couple of questions. A lot of people besides you were questioning my approach to this, and it seems like I was suggesting that this was real. And the reason I took that approach is this. I know Trump is a liar. Every time the man opens his mouth, he lies. That's just a fact. But here's why I didn't do it. I don't want to be that crazy, kooky person that has a conspiracy theory every single time something major happens. Like every time it happens, oh, it's da 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 da. I feel like I need more proof. I need some, I need more like undeniable facts. So either I'm missing something because I just want to live in this pie in the sky place that doesn't exist, or, and I don't think this is true, that I'm completely stupid. I know I'm not stupid, but it seems like a lot of people felt like I was taking it serious, but I was taking it serious because somebody brought a gun into the president's correspondence dinner's address. That's a fact. How he got in there and wasn't a weapons check, there are some legitimate questions that I have. But that doesn't mean that the assassination attempt was fake. You may now speak.
Okay. So um, it's obviously staged, and it's like there's no reason to even call it an assassination attempt. Like there's literally no reason to call it an assassination attempt. So it could have been it's definitely a security breach. It could be any number of things. But at 0 point in the entire ordeal was the president in danger. The guy that they say was the guy wasn't even on the same floor. you know, like, and then I don't know if you've seen the video. There's been a lot of them circulating where it shows the officer with the dog talking to someone in the next room. Then the officer pulls the dog away, and that's when the guy in the next room comes running out with the shotgun, runs right past a room full of security, and the only person who reacted was a security person who shot a different security person. The whole thing is just come on. And so no, I don't believe it. And then we're in a position where whether you believe it or don't believe it, there's no way you'll ever know the truth, because who runs the DOJ? Who runs the FBI? Who runs the Secret Service? So everyone that you would need to rely upon to do an investigation are not only not doing an investigation, but they have a clear history of manipulating information anyway. So you're in a position intentionally where you can't prove nothing anyway, even if you wanted to. So yeah,
There
no,
are, oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
no, I
cut
was
you
gonna
off.
say, so no, I don't believe it was real. I believe it's 100% what everybody is saying it was. And then the last part, which I didn't mention, was if this was a legitimate attack or attempted attack on the president, why was it that the Republican Party, from its operatives to its speaking heads to its officials, all of them started singing the same song about we need a ballroom? So, first of all, we're not supposed to be paying for the ballroom. Just like the wall, we weren't supposed to be paying for the wall, right? Yeah. So, we're not supposed to be paying for the ballroom. And now Trump started signaling that he wants us to pay for it. He wants Congress to give him the money to pay for it. And then right behind that, we have this event where they intentionally, this is reported fact, they reduced the security protocol for this event. Now, Trump never comes to the correspondence dinner. Never. Not since he got embarrassed. So you got the president coming to something he almost never comes to. You have all the different layers of succession in that same building, which is a complete violation. And then this happens, and what comes out of it is we need a ballroom. This wouldn't have happened if we had just had a ballroom so we could have the event on the White House grounds.
Right. And that's where I think that's where people are legitimately questioning, because I didn't address any of those things, because there are legitimate questions. Why did his press secretary say it's going to be a bank? Like, why use that
She
term?
said there'd be shots fired, right?
Yeah,
But
shots fired. Thank you.
I think you can kind of, to me personally, you can write that off because that's just them talking. My bigger point, I would say, against everything else, because what I just did was I laid out reasons why this doesn't pass the smell test, right? But honestly, my bigger concern is why would anyone even want to believe what was just told to them? Like, why give them the benefit of the doubt for anything,
I
right?
think the reason, and not to say again, Trump is a liar, definitely a liar. What I didn't want to get down was the conspiracy, like, it's so we can go to war with Russia, or some just insane. Like, I'm tired of operating in the space, and this is a personal decision I've made. I'm personally tired of operating in conspiracy theories. It's
I
just not a
understand.
healthy place for me. I don't like it. I like to have, okay, these are facts. Like I said, it is a fact that a man entered a hotel with a knife and a gun
But that's
and
not the
another
full
gun.
facts. That's not the full facts, though. Like,
No,
if
I'm
all I
getting
do
to
to
them.
you, no, but I'm just saying, think about this. If all I do to you is I put in front of you an image, then, like, if I put in front of you the image of an apple, it is a fact that the image I put in front of you is an apple. But what does that matter? It doesn't mean anything. Like, this is a moment here. Here's a thing. Look, here's a guy with a gun. Hey, but that technically doesn't mean anything because you're not getting why is that man there. You're not getting what happened immediately thereafter. You're not getting anything. Is For me, I use the same logic that conservatives use against my community when there's a police shooting. Well, what happened before the tape started? I'm gonna tell you the same thing. Prove it. And
I
on the
think that's what
opposite, the opposite of not having a conspiracy theory is not giving them the benefit of the doubt. That's not the opposite. That's just another wrong answer. If you want more information, wait for more information and demand more information. But to give them the benefit of the doubt when they've abused your trust repeatedly, that's just not right.
I don't know if I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm
It's
just
how you
not
frame
teetering.
your thing, your show.
Yeah, it's like like I said, I don't want to go down conspiracy theory lane. And but like I said, there are legitimate questions. There are very legitimate questions. How come if you know the president of the United States is going to be at an event, let's just say it's I don't know a Republican fundraiser. It's in Indiana. I'm gonna set this up. They're having it at the Hilton in Indianapolis. The Secret Service, ideally, would say, well, who's all staying in the hotel that day?
Hmm.
Who is the staff? Who is
Hmm.
cooking the food? They would do background checks on all of those people
There would
because
be
the
no guests in
president.
that hotel.
That's what I was going to say. There will probably be no guests, but this hotel did have guests apparently, but they just closed off the sections. But I'm in my made up position, in my made up mind, they would at least do background checks on all the employees. They would do background checks on the security. They would employ the local police, the
Hmm.
FBI, the Secret Service. They would all collaborate. Walk the territory a couple of days before, a couple hours before. They would check in with each other. They would have people planted at certain places. It seems like none of that happened because
So
how
then
does
why give them the benefit of the doubt?
because again, I don't want to go down conspiracy theory line.
But you
I
don't
just
have
don't
to.
want to go there.
You literally don't have to go down. This was a setup. You don't have to go from this event happened. It must be staged. You don't have to go there. You could just be like, this event happened and it don't feel right. I need to get more
Yeah,
information.
I am in more of
And
that because I'm like, well, how did like they didn't have any type of weapons check? I'm like, did you
I mean, if
know
you
the
allow
pres-
guests, to be fair, if you allow guests in the hotel, okay, then you wouldn't have weapons checks because I could have anything in my luggage, you know.
No, but if you were dumb enough to allow guests, you're crazy enough to say, you know what, we're gonna just nobody's staying at the hotel this day. Like nobody. We closing the
That's right.
whole thing down this particular day because of this reason.
Hmm.
I don't know why they let hotel guests in, but okay, they did. I wouldn't. I would say check them too, because if they know that there's an event there, then they can act out of sorts. This is just me thinking out loud. Me thinking
I
out
get it,
loud.
but what happens is this is what you're effectively doing. You're allowing yourself to get wrapped up in the facts around the facts. You know, you're trying in your own way. You're trying to justify how this could be legitimate, which is just as bad as the people who hop in the conspiracy train and decide, well, this can't be real. So I will now chase every idea for why it's not real. Like it's the same thing. You're just doing it from two different
Yeah,
directions.
I don't know why I'm framing it that way because ultimately, and I know I'm gonna hit some people when I say this, we don't need people out here trying to assassinate a president. I don't care who it is.
That
We
would be
don't
my
need
public statement as well.
because the YouTubes and me is not we just not I'm not comfortable with that. However, again, you have to ask the question, how did this happen? Who let it happen? Nobody questions Secret Service. Like you just literally let this man just walk in and just
Who
start opening. You didn't do nothing.
who would let's walk down that path. Who would question Secret Service? Who has
You
the
would think
authority?
it'd be Congress. I would think it would be Congress.
Okay.
It's
Who in
especially because
Congress,
Trump has already had, think about it, Trump's already had two attempts. The first
in
one, which
theory, yeah.
in theory, I personally think the first one was real. I don't question. The second one, I'm like, dude, come on, stop it. That one was just too like everything just kind of lined up.
So if I do tinfoil for a moment, the first one, there was a gentleman who was killed in that shot. We've not heard anything about him. We've not heard anything about his family. We've not heard anything about the other people who were in the general vicinity that are dealing with trauma and stress. Under any other circumstance, these people would have book deals. These people would have interviews. These people would have YouTube channels. All of these different things would have occurred off of what happened there, right? So there, just tinfoil moment. Why is all of that absent? And then why wasn't there a public investigation with respects to it? Trump literally did not want an investigation. Why is that? Why would you not want an investigation
Yeah, because it's
when
not because
someone
he's
tried to kill
forgiving.
you? Huh?
I said it's not because he's so forgiving and he just loves
Exactly.
everybody
Then
with
you
his
have
whole
this,
heart.
right? And then you have the second guy. The second guy, and
Wasn't that
first
the
the
golf
first one,
course?
yeah, the second one was allegedly at a golf course. He Nothing ever really happened to him, but that guy's going to prison. Um, and then you have this one, and he he didn't fire his weapon at all. So it just stinks to high heavens. But I would encourage people not to get too much wrapped up into any of that, and just keep in mind that the head of the FBI is Kash Patel. The head
Wait a
of
minute. Let me do this. Got to open them
I
eyes.
mean, the man got a disability or whatever he's got. But anyway, the
He
head
don't
is
never
Kash.
blink. See, the man don't blink.
I
What is
got a
it
lot of
called?
issues.
Because I don't want to
I
make
got
fun of nobody with a chronic disease because I have one.
Well, it's not a chronic disease. It's just got an eye issue. But my thing is, there's so many things to pick on these people for. I don't have to come at you physically, right? So you got Kash Patel, entirely incompetent and not up to the job. Bongino was his second in charge, who left because he wasn't able to lie when he was in office. So he had to go back to podcasting so he can say what he wants to say without consequence. He even says it in his own way. That's what he said. And then you have Pam Bondi gets out the way, and they bring in Trump's attorney to now be the head of the DOJ. So you have every piece of this is garbage. And then the Secret Service, they're not able to testify against the president anyway. So there's nothing you're going to get out of them.
Well, no, I'm not saying to testify against the president. I'm saying because some Republicans were saying this is a Secret Service, like they let up on the job. So
They
if
could
they
say
wanted to
that.
bring it, no, I'm saying in that case they could bring them to Congress and ask, what's your, without giving too many details, like what's your mode of operation? How do you
They would never do
detail
that.
a place?
They would never do that because it would
I'm
compromise
saying they
every
could.
future event. No, they would never do it because even if Congress pulled any members of the leadership in, they couldn't do it in public because it will compromise how they secure and prepare for a president's arrival. So they would never do that because we, the people, don't ever need to know that. And then
Right, I didn't say it had to be public.
I get it. But now if you don't do it publicly, you end up in the other issue. What was the point? Because you're now testifying behind closed doors to Democrats and to Republicans and maybe a couple Democrats, but they're all sworn to secrecy because it's a closed session. So you still get nothing out of it. And then enforcement would have to come by way of the DOJ. DOJ is run by the president's attorney. So you're looking for something you literally can't have. You can't have it. That's why we can't get the Epstein files, because the people who are supposed to give it to you work for the guy who's in it. So,
but he said he didn't do anything wrong. That's what he said.
Right. But whether he says he did anything wrong or anybody thinks he does, it doesn't, in a way, it doesn't matter. It matters because it's real, but it doesn't matter because they're the only entry points to that information. And if you know that the information can seriously harm you or put you in prison or destroy your career, and you have all the authority to keep it from happening, who wouldn't keep it from happening? So
I mean,
this is just where
I'm
we are.
guilty. Yeah, like don't put that out there. Don't you put it out there and see what happens.
Yeah. So I get some of the questions, I get some of the concerns. Like, for example, one of mine that I thought was really funny that somebody raised as a point was you had a Secret Service person, or at least somebody in the security detail, working on the magnetometer. In what world is
Yeah.
security the one putting together? Right? So everything seemed like a stage play. Everything was just poorly crafted. But the saddest thing about all of this is it's not that they're not doing better because they're not capable of doing better. They absolutely could do better. These are not stupid people. They are lazy people, they're incompetent people, but they're not stupid people. And they have access by way of money and influence to get the people to do a better job. But they know they don't have to, because there's nothing you can do about it.
In the ballroom, again, Trump to me is the man is just he's missing a whole bunch of cookies in his brain. They just don't. The White House Correspondents' Dinner is not, that is something that journalists sponsor.
Right. It's a
That is
private
an
event.
event. It's a exactly. It's a private event that they sponsor, they pay for, they just invite you because you're president.
Mhm.
Was he really suggesting moving it to the White? That doesn't even make sense. Like, if you're a journalist,
Doesn't
why would you want your correspondence dinner in a ballroom that, what is it for again?
to
Like,
pick on
dude,
the
you're
president.
not, I mean, it's like here's what he's doing. Then what he's doing. This ballroom, this war with Iran, I feel is just is to distract from the Epstein files. That's what I feel. Because this makes no sense. Yeah, I knew you was going. I already said you're gonna disagree with me, but that's okay. I feel that's why I said I feel like it because every time something comes out about the Epstein files, and shout out to Status Quo who did a really good interview with a journalist that's actually suing them because they weren't supposed to redact anything. I didn't even know that was a law. Um,
It's Trump's law.
and he's breaking it.
Absolutely.
But they
Well,
did a
he's not
really
breaking
deep
it.
dive, and I'm like, it would make sense in a way to distract. He's in the files. There's no he's mentioned what 34,000 times or
Something
something,
like that.
some
Something crazy.
egregious number. He knows he's guilty because if he wasn't, he would just release the files. It would make sense if you're not in them, just go ahead and release them. So to me, this is just okay, we're not going to talk about the files. We're going to talk about um something totally different, build a ballroom, do something totally stupid to distract. Now that's how I feel. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm coming at it kind of in pieces. So the first part, I get people want to say that it's a distraction from the Epstein files, but that's for easy consumption, and it really has no real merit to it. Because as we just said, those files don't even they don't even have to be released if he doesn't say so. So he doesn't need any of that stuff. The attack on Iran is because of Israel. Israel wanted to attack Iran. It's wanted to do it for the last 40 years, but they didn't have an administration that would give them sufficient space to operate the way they wanted to. So they saw an opportunity to use the incompetence of Hegseth and the greed and myopia of Trump to wage war on Iran. That I am so confident that that's what happened. There's no doubt in my mind that's what happened. Epstein is so secondary because Epstein Congress went around Trump because Trump said, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. Congress went around Trump, drafted legislation to force the Epstein files to be released. Trump signed that into law. Okay. Then made sure his DOJ, because he tells the DOJ directly what to do. He acknowledged it. He's got truths. He's got everything showing. He'll tell Bondi, do this, don't do that. Okay. So he's blocking all the pathways. he doesn't need a war to distract from that. What are you going to do? You have no more information about the Epstein files than you did before, and yet you're still interested in it. So he doesn't need a war to distract from that. He can just continue to do what he does, and people will continue to be outraged because they know he's blocking it in some way, but his hands are largely off of it because his functionaries are the ones who have their fingerprints on it. He himself can always say, hey, man, I signed the law. I told them, I can't help what they do after that because they're supposed to be independent of me. Remember, that's what you said you wanted. So I get where the temptation is to say this is all about Epstein, but it's not. And then I have a very unpopular opinion, and I would love for anyone to be able to debate me off of it. But I think that people are interested in the Epstein files the same way they were interested in the Maury Povich show or Jerry Springer. They don't really care about these women. They don't care about what happened to these girls. They don't. It's a
There is an
political.
element of that.
It's a
Absolutely.
political tool, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's absolutely, it's Love and Hip Hop, the political edition.
exactly,
that's not
it's mess.
controversial. That's
Yeah,
actually,
it's
I have to
mess.
agree with that.
They want to see how dirty is Trump. All right, that's what it is. How dirty is this man? But it's like, he's dirty. He's been adjudicated
Right,
as
because if we cared about the women, and I'm not going to say that because now we found out there are male victims. If we cared about the
but
children,
no one cares about the men. Let's just be real about it. They don't. They care about the girls to the extent that they care.
right? But here's the point I'm getting at. If we really cared about, and I'm saying children, if we really cared about the children, because that's all they talk about, the children are in the files. Wouldn't you want to do like, I don't know, like a task force at minimum on human trafficking, like ways to stop human trafficking, putting more money to alleviate wouldn't you want to do more? Like, shouldn't you be demanding more out of like you? No, that's not controversial. I actually agree with you.
The FBI is the number one agency that we have to investigate and interrupt human sex trafficking. And that agency has had its resources and its personnel redirected from those very activities. So if we're that concerned about human trafficking, then there should be a huge uproar about that. But there's not. So that's why I'm always like, yo, I get it. It's salacious, it's horrible. But we have certain names that we know can be dug into. The cat who's over Victoria's Secret, the cat who's in the administration. You know what I'm saying? There's like 3 or 4 names that we know dirty. Okay.
There's at least one other former president in them files.
But they don't have nothing on Bill. Even with the files releases that they dropped, they got nothing on them. If they had something on them, they will hang Bill out to dry. They tried. And what happened was they brought Bill and they brought Hillary up in there, and Hillary made them look like straight up fools because they don't have anything, right? The fact is Trump doesn't want his name in it. Even if you can't really tie Trump to anything, even though I think you can, because you got at least 2 or 3 different young ladies who are now grown women who can say it was him who did this to me, right? You got that. You got the ranch out in Nevada that they allowed to get sold instead of being investigated. They allowed to get sold
in Arizona.
To Arizona. They allowed it to get sold and basically torn down. Like, guys, that's what I'm saying. Like Epstein, I get it, but yo, for real, we got girls going up missing. We got Black girls who go missing. We got indigenous girls who go missing.
Numbers.
Huh?
You just made my point. That's my whole point. Is if we care about young girls and not having them sex trafficked, we need to demand, hey, FBI, take the little resources you have and direct them at this. Because you can't be serious. You can't be. Not what you're doing now, because you're doing nothing now. And yet we still have traffic.
In America, sex crimes aren't real crimes.
And that's
I don't
another
care
problem.
where you sit economically or racially. Sex crimes
Right.
simply are not real crimes. They
Because you
only
got that.
prosecute them if it's egregious and they can catch you like more or less in the act. Other than that, it's the girl has to prove it, and we always doubt the girl. So
Always.
she's after the money, she's this or she's that, or
How did
why
she
she wait
dress?
so long, or
She led them on. Her eyes were saying, her mouth was saying no, but her body
yeah.
was
And
saying
what people
yes.
don't like, this is something, and this is my opinion, and I know it's just me and people like me. I blame that Bible because you blame women for everything. Like all the many
Just for
wonderful lessons that the Bible teaches us. And what do we walk away with as one of our lagging things in society? Blame the woman.
that's a lack of understanding because they don't want
Call
to
it what you want.
understand.
Call it what you want.
I,
It's what's
I agree
happening.
with I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I'm like, all you gotta do is read it. That's a whole discussion because I
Yeah.
definitely
That is
think that
men scapegoating
misogyny,
women. Men
yeah, men have
scapegoating
been
women
the
throughout
church
eternity.
misogynizes women. I will definitely say that. You think I like it? No, I do not. And yes, I will fight. I will keep continuing to fight against it. I have no problem saying, hey, we need to get our house in order. Order. I forgot the second thing I said I was going to talk about. I know I'm going to talk about whose fault the voting right, but I want to save that for
For you,
last because
you did
that's
say
the
that one.
big, big
Parker
chunk of
got
the
some
discussion.
comments for you.
Oh, yeah, he sure does. Thank you for pointing that out. Hey, Parker. So Parker says, hey, y'all been watching this rally with Bernie Sanders campaigning with, I hope I get this right, Abdul El Saeed for Michigan Senate, and it's really good. Did you see the security video of the shooter in the hotel walking around the gym? No, I
I
have
didn't
not
see
seen
that
it.
one, but I'm not surprised.
Now Fox News, which why they call themselves that, I don't know why. But now Fox News is talking about Abdullah El Saeed and Bernie rally saying Senator Sanders holds a far left radical campaign. Oh my gosh.
That's what they're supposed to say.
Fox News, like I have to be so there's no condition where I'm so desperate to watch something on TV. I think, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn on Fox News and see what they think. It ain't never happened. Ain't gonna happen. Oh my gosh.
Now I don't watch Fox. I just can't call them news. I don't watch Fox. But if I was actually interested in charting some of the tactics and communications that are being pushed to the conservative audience, then I would try to watch some of it.
Wait a
I've
minute.
already
First,
formulated my opinion. It's not my interest to try to bring anybody over, so I don't need to. But Fox is doing what it's supposed to do. It's like I so get so frustrated, and it's on so many subjects that we as whatever we call ourselves on the left, we keep getting like this fake. I call it fake outrage and fake surprise. We've learned how to just make that a modeled behavior for ourselves when our opponents do exactly what they're supposed to do. Our opponents are supposed to keep their followers in a bubble. Our opponents are supposed to warp our words. Our opponents are supposed to try to outmaneuver us and cause us harm and reduce our authority and our power. Our opponents are supposed to try to take our messaging and twist it and send it back to our own people. That is what they're supposed to do because they're
yeah,
fighting us. The problem is we don't want to do any of those things because we want to fight this clean fight, um, and at the same time eliminate anyone who is trying to fight for us if they're not 100% where we feel we would be, um, or saying exactly what we want them to say at the time. It's like you know
yeah. I'm still forgetting about the second thing that I said I was gonna talk about. Like, okay, so I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in this one. So Hakeem APAC Timu Obama Jeffries.
hmm.
No, this actually goes into my first topic because they're kind of mirrored. So yeah, we're gonna go to the last topic. And then I'll talk about my schedule in August because that camp I announced is going to impact this show. But anyway, if you're not aware, the Supreme Court recently stripped voters' rights. There was a Louisiana case. Please don't make me call it because I forgot it and I forgot to tag it. That essentially is going to allow Republicans to redraw districts in counties that are populated by Black people. Essentially,
Not just
that's
black
just the
people.
kind. Well, not by just Black people. You're right, but um, it's going to allow Republicans to redraw the district. And let me say this before I start talking about who's to blame. I am in general against gerrymandering. I don't like it. It despises me because I feel like if you're going to redraw the maps, you should have a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, and another independent. Like you should have four parties redrawing the map. This is how I feel. So I don't like gerrymandering in the sense of gerrymandering. I understand in the same breath why the Democrats have withdrawn districts in Virginia and California. Because if you want to play that game, we could play it all day. So I see why the Democrats did what they did, but in essence, I'm against gerrymandering. I don't like it, but I'm like, yeah, I can understand why the Democrats took that. It's one of the few
Democrats
things
are
I'm like,
against it
yeah,
too.
huh?
Democrats are against it too.
That's true. Democrats are against it, but they took that course because of
Absolutely.
what the Republicans did. So again, heck must have frozen over because I'm actually giving kudos to the Democratic Party for doing something like standing up and acting like y'all got some fights. Before I get to my who's to blame, I'm gonna get to Parker's comment. It was ironic because the tentacle analogy is exactly what people claim is anti-Semitic, but the Fox host used it to target Islam, as they always do. Not forgetting that Islam is the only religion. Islam mentions Jesus, but Judaism does not. But hey, I'm just here for facts. I'm just here. I'm just here and stuff. But hey, we'll just ignore that part. But anyway, there's some groups of people that are definitely to blame for this. But my ultimate blame is going to be this. So I'll name the groups
I already know.
and why I think that they are correct. The first is this conservative piece of garbage makes me sick Supreme Court. These
Wow.
Yahoo clowns make me sick. They make me sicker than Coleman Domingo playing Joe Jackson. They are garbage. To strip, you would think Clarence Thomas would have some sense, like he would look in the mirror and see, oh, I'm black, so let me just go ahead. No, he said no. Let me just strip them. Let me just let Republicans get in there. No, the Supreme Court is definitely, 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 definitely to blame for this ultimately because it's them who rendered the decision. If we had paid attention, Chief Roberts had alluded to this about 4 years ago, I believe, and he was setting it up, but somehow we weren't paying attention. Um, that's my first. Now you want to jump in these, just go ahead and jump in them because, like I said, I got several groups to
Well,
blame.
I don't want to. I don't want to mess with you when you're cooking because my point of view. I made a whole video on it, so it's different than probably where you're going anyway.
Yeah. My dislike of the Supreme Court, first of all, why are they there for a lifetime? Like for real, why? Why y'all there for life? But anyway, these clowns that actually sit here and say, you know what? No, we'll just let Republicans draw it. Even though the districts that they're talking about drawing don't tend to vote Republican. But they're gonna just draw them anyway. Next group to blame. This one, I don't care if you disagree with me. You can say, Tracy, you out your dang own mind. Congress. Y'all yahoos back in 2020, that's when Joe Biden got elected, had the Congress, you had the Senate, and y'all lazy buttheads couldn't pass the Joe Louis Voters' Rights Act. You let Sinema and Manchin get away with being the beeholes that they are by not calling their voters and saying, hey, voters, call them. Now, would they have listened to their voters? Probably not. But at least tell them, hey, put some pressure on them to vote for the John Lewis Voters' Rights Act. That's the number two group. The, the next one is the same as Congress, but this one is the Congressional Black Caucus. Y'all yahoos make me sick. I don't like, I can't even, I don't even understand. You say, oh, it's 60 of us. You couldn't have went forced to vote on the John Lewis Voters' Right Act. You couldn't have said, hey, if you don't pass this, we're not gonna vote for nothing you propose. We just not. Watch us. I'm talking about when they had Congress, not when they didn't. I'm talking about when they had the Congress, not when the Republicans took over, but when they had the Congress. Y'all don't just sit here, oh, well, we can't do anything. Yes, you can. It's called opening your mouth and engaging your constituents. You tell your constituents, hey, this bill is coming up. Get people in other states, call your friends in another state and tell them to. You didn't do nothing. You have been, and this is where I said Tim Black made a great point. You've been from the time that first decision came out to now. It's been 4,700 days roundabout. You couldn't do nothing. You couldn't say, hey, we're just going to vote as a block and force those senators to say, you know what? First of all, and I forgot to mention, there was a provision, and I forget what it's called, that would have allowed the senators not to make that bill filibuster proof. They didn't take it. What y'all there for? What are y'all there for? That's my question. Next group of
I'm
people.
sorry. You're mixing things though. So if you're looking at the Senate,
okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, because I'm like, I'm on a roll now. I'll tell you, like, as we discuss why I'm coming to this conclusion. Because I know the Senate and the Congress are different, but they don't talk to each other. Like, you can't, like me as a, let's just say I'm in Congress. And I say, hey, people of Indiana, I need y'all to call Senator such and such and such and tell him to vote for the John Lewis. I could do that. I
But
literally could do that.
is it okay? So
go ahead, because I know you're just itching to talk, so go ahead.
I don't mean to like, do that. It's just that you were mixing things and it creates a broken history, right? It's almost revisionist because if you go back to just before the 2020 elections, it was 50-50, but that was 50 Republicans, 48 Democrats, 2 independents who vote Democratic. So you were 50-50 with the tiebreaker, but the tiebreaker actually would have laid with Pence. It wouldn't have laid with anybody else just yet. Then after the election, we moved into 50, was it 52 or 53? And then the Democrats were, the difference, 47, 48. So they never had in the Senate the ability to do anything, the Democrats. Plus, we know they're weak. Like we know they're weak.
That's my point. Thank you for making my point.
But but that might be your point. But math is the math. They couldn't do what you're trying to say they should have done because they need 60 to beat the filibuster. And but you have
but remember, I already said there was a provision that they could have exercised that they only would have needed 51 votes.
Which they still didn't have. And the thing about that, because like I said, they were always 50-50 or less. So they still didn't have it. And one of the other issues, and this is my biggest gripe with anyone who lays some of these arguments, is we always focus on what the Democrats didn't do. But I'm like, you had a problem where 48 plus 2, all right? So 48 Democrats, 2 independents, so 50. And then to mess that up some, we had Cinema and
Mansion.
right? To
Or
make
what I call
everything
the
else
rotating villains.
right. So the thing about it is, like, here, just consider this part of the story that you're telling, or that people are telling. The Democrats had to have 100% cohesion to barely be able to maybe get in a position where if they could just get 2 or 3 Republicans to come over, they could make something happen. Okay. One, very unlikely that was going to happen, because Republicans, no one's really looking at them. They're literally doing it in perfect lockstep. Whatever you're complaining about the Democrats not doing well enough because they're fragmented, the Republicans are 100% working together to block what helps you. That's where your anger should be. Don't just write it off as they're bad. No, they're trying to hurt you. They're in your way, but all your energy is on how this group didn't do a better job beating the group over here. If that group wasn't trying to hurt you, it wouldn't even matter. So put some more energy over there. It's just drives me insane.
Things you need to read Parker's comment. And this is ultimately what I'm saying.
50-50 with Harris breaking the tie. It's no different than what I just said.
No, but what I think Parker's saying is what I'm saying. When they had the Congress, the first 2 years, not the other two where the Republicans was acting a fool, not them 2 years. I'm talking about them first 2 years. When
Even when you got the 50-50, the
and
John
Harris
Lewis
breaks the
bill
tie.
was not, it didn't have that kind of support, because one, here's a huge important piece of this, which we all know, but a lot of times we don't focus on it. COVID, we were dealing with a plague. COVID was messing up. It was killing people over here. It was destroying the economy over there. So it was a national priority, no matter who you are, where you sat, how you felt. John Lewis voting rights bill, the fact that it said John Lewis, you knew that was a black issue as far as everybody else is concerned. When do we ever rank high? You know what I'm saying? When do we ever garner cross-party support? So you can't compare us to COVID. Like, that's just it's just not fair. It's like comparing your third cousin's child to your niece. Like, you're not, they don't match. I'm sorry.
The next group of people I blame is y'all's people that keep voting in these Republicans and Democrats. Are y'all out y'all dang on mind?
Third party can't do no better.
Here's my point. Let me take it. Until people are actually willing to change their minds about how they're voting, we already know Congress has an 8% or 10% approval rate. It's terribly low.
Terrible for
And
50 years.
Thank you. But you keep sending them back. Common sense should tell you, hey, there might be other options, because I contend that neither party wants voters' rights. I literally I can make a case that I know the Republicans don't want it. No, they don't. They have, at least they have the decency to tell me, yeah, we don't want you to vote. Or we want to make, they can't outright say, well, you can't vote because you're black. But they can make laws that make it harder for me to vote. That they can do, and that's what they are doing by doing the gerrymandering. But Democrats, I'm like, is y'all for real? Is y'all for real? I definitely think, I'm like, nah, y'all got to start, until you change the way that you're voting, you're gonna keep getting the same thing over and over and over. You've got to break the cycle. I know there's hundreds, literally hundreds of third party candidates that personally Yeah, things. I know you disagree with me, but I'm here to say my piece. This
The
is what I
reason
think.
why I disagree, because I'm actually an advocate for third party resurgence at this point. But the reason I disagree is because they don't have a governing strategy. No one can come out here and say this is what we would do different and how we would do it different to achieve a different result. Not happening. And the three biggest third parties, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, and what was it, the Congress Party or something else like that.
Socialist Party.
It's not that one. That's actually further down the list. So it's the third one's like congressional or something. It starts with a C. But constitutional party. Those are your three biggest ones. And I don't care if you go digging deeper in the crates. Nobody's coming out forcefully saying, here's how I would go, how I would govern, and this is how I would deliver, especially that last piece. So to say to the voting public, hey guys, see, this is a mess. You should do something different. Where I'm going to go? I'm going to go throw my vote amongst 100 different third parties. And that immediately makes whoever I really don't want to win, that makes them the winner. If you can't give me a viable third, because we need that. I want to get rid of the Democrats and Republicans so bad right now. We need a third party that'll come on the scene and have a philosophy. All of y'all got a philosophy, but have a philosophy, have commitments, and have a plan. None of y'all got a plan. None of y'all. So to say don't vote for the Democrats,
I'm saying don't vote for either of the clowns.
Republicans definitely win. It's just not how they're gonna roll. That's not reality.
This is the opinions of Tracy M. Carson.
I get it, but I'm gonna push back on them every single time because once again, you're giving ideas, you're not giving plans.
What party am I ahead of again?
You're an independent. But if you're telling people they need to make a different decision, you owe it to them to do more than just say do something different. Tell them what to do. Where do I go? You want me to not do this? Well, what should I do?
Well, okay, because I can only give Indiana examples. I don't know who's running.
But you're talking national politics, Tracy.
Yeah, I'm talking that. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know who's running nationally. I only know who's running in Indiana, and that's what I plan on doing.
But where we agree, this is where we agree, Tracy. Yes, you are in Indiana. I'm in Georgia, right? And when we have really not the best slate of people to choose from, no matter where you look. So what I'm trying to push out here to everyone, every time I get a chance to talk to people, is build that thing that you say you want. Don't cop out. Don't cop out. We are at a time we can't cop out of everything. We can't have our chest out with all our complaints and then get real small when people need solutions. That's not fair. It's just not fair.
Okay, so I'll continue my last one. And this is where I think the ultimate blame lies. I know y'all not about to like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. You can hit the unsubscribe button if you don't like it, because I literally am in the point I don't care. Y'all's peoples that sit every time it's an election, and we tell you, hey, this election could bridge the courts. You choose to sit on your I ain't going to vote. What good does it do? The non-voter is the place where I place the most blame. Why? Because the majority of Americans don't even bother to show. Now, there are many reasons why people choose not to vote. They don't believe politicians. They don't trust the system. Yada, yada, yada.
They've been disenfranchised. They've been lied to.
They've been disenfranchised. But here's where I'm asking people, especially Black people, to kind of break away from that thinking. If your voters' rights weren't so important, why is the Republican Party trying to take them away from you? Your vote means something. And when we get to situations like what happened in Louisiana, thank goodness it didn't happen in Indiana, because we said, yo, redraw our districts. We will vote you out of that. Yes, if you're going to look to a state This is the time I can pump my chest out and say, I'm from Indiana. If you're going to look to a state and to see how you can swat stupidity by Republicans, look to the state of Indiana. Because when our drum duly stupid governor, Trump behind kissing idiot governor said, I'm going to redraw the maps, Indiana's citizens rallied. 10,000, no, 9,000 people showed up to a rally. Those people worked across Republican, Democrat, Libertarians, Greens, Socialists, PSL. They rallied together and kept on that phone. They called, because I did too, called our legislators and said, vote against, vote for this. And you're going to see what happens in 2 years when you come up for reelection. You've got to start putting fear in these policies. That's the only thing that's going to make them do what we want them to do. You got to put fear in these people. Because if you don't, it's just, we're going to just get the same old, well, I mean, we already got to show you disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
Are you disagree?
I think at this stage of the game, electoral politics, we had our chance at electoral politics. We had our chance. We did not do what needed to be done. In 2016, coming off of Obama, we didn't take it seriously. So the Republicans took it, and then they came back and they got rid of women's right to choose. For 30 years since the Clintons, we haven't taken Supreme Court politics seriously. So that's on us too. The Democrats and the left, just the left period, we had 20 years, the last 20 years minus the current, say 4 to 6. We had 20 years to be serious about our politics. But we were so comfortable because we had been soothed into a state of two parties are the same. Things don't really change regardless of which one is sitting in the chair. And so we really kind of tapped out. We leaned back. And what we failed to observe was that the Republicans and the conservatives were very engaged, and they were working that entire time. So yes, right now they're getting some wins, but they're getting wins because they've been working for 30 years to get these wins you see today. So if you use that math, you got to look back 30 years on the left and say, what have we been working on for the last 30 years? Because our time to reap our harvest would also be coming then. And if we don't have anything we can really say we've worked on, which I don't believe we really have, we won't reap anything. So I think this is why I'm saying I don't agree, is that what you're laying out would work in a normal environment, but we're not in a normal environment anymore. And electoral politics, as we knew them, they're just not going to be enough. If we look at what is this era kind of feeling most like, and this era is feeling most like the 40s and the 50s, right? As far as our political climate. So if we look at, if it feels like the 40s and 50s now, what was happening in the 40s and 50s to start to push for change? It was stuff that was happening way outside of politics. It was voters deciding, you know what, my vote isn't getting me where I want to go. So I got to hit the streets. I got to break things. I got to be loud. If I have to fight, if I have to, I have to die if I have to. That is where we are. So if you still think that just showing up at the polls is going to do something, I'm sorry, folks, we wasted that opportunity. When we had that opportunity, we were busy talking about, no, if you're not talking about my one option, my one topic, I'm going to say, if you aren't talking about universal health care, then I'm not voting for you. If you're not talking about Gaza, then I'm not voting for you. If you're not talking about this, I'm not voting for you. We decided to do that. Because all of us have our own little things in there that kept us from coming together. We chose not to come together, so now we will suffer together. Now we have to decide, are we going to fight together? And that's where we are. We are not in a place where you can just go and I mean, please go vote, but understand, Do you really think, after everything you're watching for the last 2 years, they would let something as simple as the vote defeat them? Honestly, do you honestly believe that just showing up at the polls will defeat someone who is now got a 20% approval, a war that nobody agrees with, rampant corruption, and staged assassination attempts? You really think that guy is going to be like,
Okay.
"Yep, they got the vote"?
This
I'm
is where
sorry,
I
folks.
this
You
is
got to
where I
step up.
agree and disagree with you. I don't think electoral politics is the only solution. I would never say that because I believe in mutual aid. I believe in building an alternative system. However, voting is a tool,
I agree,
and
but
it's
it's
a
a tool that ain't
tool
working.
right now that 40% of Americans don't use.
Well, see,
Voting,
I'm glad you said that because I missed that earlier. I know there's a temptation, because I've fallen into it, of blaming the non-voters. It's not their fault.
and here's why I'm saying it is in a way, because again, I'm not backing down from this one. Here's what I would say. If I'm going to complain about something and say, oh, this is terrible. What right now, I'll use Indianapolis as an example. Our mayor is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants him to run again. And he's got the nerve to talk about he wants to run for a fourth term. I have never seen a field where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna forget you a Democrat. And I'm just he's made me so mad that I'm willing to vote for a Democrat. That's how bad he is. Like he's terrible. If I'm sitting here saying he's terrible, he's terrible, he's terrible, but I don't go to the polls and say this is how terrible that I believe you are, that I'm willing to vote for somebody else, and I'm not serving in my community, and I'm not doing mutual aid, and I'm not, engaging. What am I here for?
So if you go to the grocery store and the grocery store says, "Hey, I'm going to talk to my customers, and I need to know what fruit should we add to our grocery produce section," and I just want to hear from my consumers. What fruit should we add? And they put on their tomato, and they put on their apple, and then you show up and you say, "I'm going to put asparagus." Okay. And then another one comes up and says, "This is ridiculous. You asked me about what fruit I want to add, and you named tomato, which is technically a fruit, but none of us think of a tomato as a fruit. And then you said apple. So really, you're telling me you're asking me, should you put apples in the store? I'm not going to play this game. I'm going home." That right there is the Democrat, the Republican, the independent or third party, and the non-voter. The Democrat and Republican are walking in saying, well, they're technically both fruits. I'll pick which one is better than the other, even though I don't like apples. And I know you're playing games with me about this tomato. The third party or the independent person comes in and says, well, I'm going to vote for asparagus just to prove a point. And I know, because the question is about fruit, they'll never pick the asparagus, but at least I voted for something. And then the other one, who saw the entire thing as a farce, went back home. How do you get upset with the non-voter any more than you would get upset with the person who voted for the asparagus? Both of them
Okay.
wasted the vote. And then the other two are playing a cynical game.
Okay, so in your example, hold on a second. I gotta get this.
Oh, we can hear you pretty good
Yes.
too.
Oh, okay, because this cord is split up. I get where you're going. Like I get where you're going. But here's what I would say, because I guess this is a cultural thing for me. I know that my father, because my mother, she didn't vote until she was like in her 40s. Like we had to like beg her. We was like, please go and vote. Please go and vote. She just didn't. And so one day I was like, well, why? And she went to they're the same. But I'm like, but until you say something, again, voting is just one tool in the toolbox. I'm
I
saying
agree.
utilize the whole toolbox.
Agreed.
Don't disregard voting.
Agreed.
And I agree with you saying, well, why would I put a spear? Because that's not even a fruit. I would say throw in bananas. It's a fruit. It meets the qualifications. Tomatoes a fruit,
It
apples a
doesn't make
fruit,
the
bananas a
qualification
fruit.
because I asked you about these two fruits. You chose to go with a third option that somebody has to
No, I'm just saying
know
if
your
it's
option to pick
common
it.
sense is gonna tell me if you're asking me specifically about fruit, I already know asparagus isn't a fruit, so why am I voting for
I agree.
it? I would say I would probably pick tomato because it's more versatile. I can make a sauce out of it, I can fry it, I can slice it up, I can put it in salad, I can do more things with it. And apples, I'm not a real big apple fan in the sense. But here's what I will say, and maybe I'm not so good at saying it. Again, voting is a tool. I don't like when people just don't even make the effort and you turn around and you're not doing anything for your community. Like you're just sitting there like, look,
I
okay.
actually agree with that sentiment because that is one of
That
the things
that
I
that, that
yeah, because
irks
I
my
tell people
nose.
if you're not going to vote, that's fine. By me anyway. That's fine. My question then is what are you doing? So are you educating children? Are you feeding hungry people? Are you donating your time reading at the library? I don't care what you're doing, but whatever you're saying would be a better world. What are you doing to help usher in that better world? So I agree with you there. But what I'm saying to you though is that is no better. Like just because you went and voted for something that had no chance of winning because you don't want to do the work of actually getting yourself in a position to win, you're not any better. You're no better.
Parker, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Parker, you are wrong for this comment. You real wrong, Parker. You real wrong. You real wrong.
She makes your vote stink.
But you know what? Y'all both wrong. But like I said, I get where you're going, but it just frustrates me. I don't want to vote. What good is it? Good? Until that, for me, it's like change your mindset. If here's what I will say: if you're so unhappy with the way a politician, now I'm talking local, city council, trustee,
Nobody thinks about that.
run. I know, run. Get in the race and you run. No, I'll take that back. When your city council has most city councils have meetings, get off of your seat, like get in your car and drive to the place where they're having a meeting at and just show up.
So, Tracy, I am actually agreeing with where you're trying to head here, but I'm in a phase right now where I'm only interested in practical solutions or helping somebody actually move forward. Right. So I think it adds benefit to inspect some of the things that we say. Um, a non-voter, if we want them to go from being a non-voter to a voter, then I believe it is on us who are so interested in them voting to give them a reason to vote. And using old platitudes that they've already heard, that won't help anybody. You know, your ancestors died for this, or they're trying to take your rights. Or no, none of that stuff does anything for me, right? My ancestors were killed because they wanted to vote. That's messed up. So my solution is I'm not gonna go try to vote and they can kill me, right? So that's an easy back from there. And then the other one is well, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to take it from you. Yeah, but you vote all the time and you ain't getting what you want either. So how you gonna tell me that that's the solution, right? I think that you're really hitting on something important when you start to talk about locals, simply because local elections can be swung with a couple hundred votes. So if we the voters want the non-voters to start voting, then it's on us to lay out a plan and show them results. It's on us to come to them and say, you know what? Just this time, let's vote for Bill Johnson for Secretary of State. And we're going to do this all across the state. We're all voting for that guy. I don't care if you leave the rest of the ballot blank. We're voting for that guy. And now when you win, because if you're really sincere about this and you're really working with a lot of people to get there, then you'll win. You'll either win or you'll make such a huge landmark that all of a sudden they're talking about it in the news. That's how you take a non-voter and move them into the voting category, because they can see that there is value to it. But so long as we're just scolding them, and all they have to do to defeat our rhetoric is say, you didn't get what you wanted. Or, oh, your party did win. Congratulations. You lined up like everybody else and voted Democrat like everybody else. The Democrats won. What'd you get? What'd you get? Right? And so all you're doing is like creating a more disinterested voter if you're not going to give them something to work with. So and like you mentioned, and this is just because I used to do it, and I want people, hey, if you got time to do city council, definitely go do it. But like, check this out. I don't know if you've been to city council lately. City council will have the public meeting. You go in there, and there might be a couple dozen people, if you're lucky, in the meeting.
That's on a good day.
That's on a good day. And you'll have the 6 council members sitting above you like they some kind of judge, like they special. But they're going to be sitting right up there. Nothing is decided at all at the city council meeting. They'll let somebody come down and they'll talk and they'll present what they want to do, or their zoning. They want zoning permission for this or that. But the reality is that meeting is all for show, because the decisions were made the Tuesday beforehand when nobody could be there. And it was behind closed doors in a meeting where it was really just the council members and the person who was making their pitch. What you're seeing at the city council member is the dog and pony show that's put in front of you for consumption. And there's very few people even consuming it. So the only way to really get it is to run for council and try to make some changes. But you're talking to non-voters. Non-voters are not going to go from 0 to run for city council. They're not doing it, right? You got to give them something, unless you're going to do a movement like MAGA did. And
yes, because that's where different. Trump, say what you want to say about Trump. And I got a lot of things to say about Trump. He did get a lot of non-voters to show up for. He completely lied to them. Said he wasn't going to. I mean, he literally lied to them. But because he knows how to speak their language, which is something I need to learn how to do, he spoke their language. I don't speak that language.
You don't want those voters. Well, you got to learn to speak the language of the voters you want.
That's true. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, and I'm going to do this in a future podcast, there's some things, I'm going to say, I know all the icicles are melting. And I'm going to get to your comments, Parker, because you're still wrong for that one about the Green Party asparagus. That's wrong. But I think that's why he has his magazines, even with the Epstein files, even with the war of Iran, because they're convinced he's telling the truth. Now, if I ever ran for office, which I'm not, I want somebody to check me. They're like, girl, why aren't you doing this? Because that's only going to make me better.
You should run. I don't even agree with all your positions. You know I don't. But I still think that you should run, because unlike a non-voter, you are informed and you do have something that you want to present and push for. So you would be doing a service for the non-voters who believe similar to yourself and the actual voters who believe similar to yourself. Because to me, you're very conservative. So you're progressive mixed with conservative. That's me.
I'm more.
That's my take.
Yeah, like socially, I'm concerned. Like socially, I just fall right into the like I can speak to conservatives and have no like the conservatives that make sense. Not all of, not the evangelicals. I can't with them. I
That's
cannot. I
all good.
cannot.
But what I'm saying is you have a constituency. You have people who are right of center, center, and just barely left of center. That would be you. And there's a lot of voters in Indiana that might be there, and they're literally disgusted with what's being force fed to them every election cycle. So, like you
I,
were saying to the non-voters, you were telling people go run. I'm saying to you, go run. I'm saying the same thing to myself. I just had to vote for re-election for a state senator that I've been meaning to run against for 6 years. So, and each time I show up and
I've had a whole podcast on reasons why I won't run. Because one, there's no way I'm running. There's no way, no how, ain't gonna do it. Because I be feeling like I'm lying to voters. I'm like, why run as a Democrat when I can't stand the Democrat? No, no, no.
then run as a different kind of Democrat.
See,
Or
even
don't
going under that
run as a
D.
third party. Pick a third party, hold your nose, pick a third party because you believe in them more than the Democrats. And a lot of the third parties are just, they're literally Democrats who ran away from the plantation. So join a third party and run there.
Somebody's more qualified than me.
Who cares? Because the people that keep saying that we keep thinking are more qualified, they keep getting elected.
I'm gonna get to Parker's comment because I did not think this was going to turn to a Tracy run for office.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If you run, I'll run.
I guess you're not going to be running then because I'm like, unless I'm serious, unless God Himself says, Tracy, it's time to run, that's when I run. And I'm serious as serious as can be when I say that. He's got to tell me, I need you to run.
This is not God. Understand, this is not God. But
no,
I'm good friends with this guy named Gabriel, and I'm stopping by to say you should run.
No, 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 you did not. No, you did not. Come on here and blaspheme.
I did not. I said I'm not. There's no rules about saying you're the friend of Gabriel. There's no rules about that.
We're gonna get because he teetering. He really gonna make me go there. Oh, and plus, I live in Indianapolis, but you know I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. I ain't gonna get like, oh well, watch it.
I think you should try. Maybe not this cycle, but we got 2028 coming up.
No, ours elections are always the year after. So we got 2027 coming, and then to be 2029.
Oh, you talking about state elected? State
I'm talking
office?
about city council.
Oh, well, either a city council or a state senator or state house. Huh? And in Indiana, no, that was Tennessee. But Indiana's a lot like Tennessee as far as politically. They need someone like you.
Yeah, he got to tell me. I'm very serious about that. I
y'all
got
out
to
there,
hear.
if y'all can get Tracy to run, I'll run in Georgia. And how about that? So you get Tracy to run, and then I'll run. So if you want to put me to the test, vote for Tracy. Let's get Tracy to run, and then I'll run too. How about that? Let's do that.
You know what? We gonna just get to Parker's comments here. So Parker says, I think the most likely scenario is by 2028, Dems win presidency, House, and Senate, and they get even large majority than Biden had the first couple years in his term. I kind of agree with that. Unfortunately, I agree.
I don't think we'll have no elections.
See that I can't. I think so Parker also says, I think that we're about to enter a similar time to the final couple of years of George W. Bush, where it led to Dem landslide, although 28 probably won't be as big as Democrat win as 08 for Obama. I also agree with that. Parker. Really, Parker? Really? Really?
I'm
Really?
just saying.
So I said at the beginning of the show that this show is going to be affected. Let me bring up this drama camp information. So,
Can I pause you before you make your announcement, Tracy? That type of link is really, really hard for any of us.
oh, I
So,
put it in the description section.
oh, okay, because like these, I don't know where you get these kinds of links, but it makes
Yeah,
it like
anytime I
next to
put a link,
impossible.
I always put it in the description section.
Okay.
So then you can always go to the link. Now mine, I can just click it and go to it. But yeah, it's in the this will be in the description section next week. But anywho's, so our church under, and I hate to use this word, my leadership. I hate to can't stand that term. We're having a I don't like it.
How
Again,
you in
it's
the church? You got the whole flock shepherd thing going on. You're supposed to be able to say, "I'm my leadership." Like, if you got your job, you got leadership. You know,
no, I don't.
you do have leadership on your job. You got a supervisor
I
or a
mean, we
manager.
have leadership, but it ain't me. This one falls
You're a
directly.
member of the leadership at your church. That's awesome.
Um, uh, so
I
our
love it.
team is leading a drama camp for children. The camp will start June 20th and go through August the 16th with 3 performances, August the 14th, August the 15th, and Sunday, August the 16th. And the reason I'm mentioning that August the 16th is I won't be here that day. There will be no Sunday show August the 16th. Don't look for it. I will be at a play called The Born Again Believers. Why am I mentioning that? Because we're trying to raise a minimum of $2,000, a maximum of $3,500 because costuming, playwrights, staging, lights, they all cost money. And I'm gonna do this every single last podcast I do from here until August the 16th because I don't care. Like, oh well, this is what I'm gonna do. So if you can contribute $5, $10, 15, whatever you can contribute, we will definitely use it. We're trying to help, especially our Black youth. This is an area where we're just not heavily involved in. Um, and I've always asked, well, how come Black children aren't involved in drama? How come? Well, I stopped asking how come and just started saying it's time to step up and offer this. So we'll have an 8-week course. It'll end with a performance, and we're looking forward to your support. And yes, I will mention it on the the Thursday show this coming Thursday. I'll mention it on Saturday, and I'll mention it on Sunday. Ha 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 ha. So get used to it. But the link itself, I will have it in the description section next week. I didn't do it this week, but I will do it next week. Um, these put something. Okay, stop this. Stop. Stop. Trying to end on a positive note. No, I'm so next week I don't know what I'm gonna talk about because it always depends on what's happening in the news. Um in terms of what happens, we'll probably just still keep discussing this unjust why Congress doesn't have the testicular fortitude to impeach Trump now, but they just won't. But Steve, I'm going to let you tell us where we can find you.
Cool. So please check me out on my YouTube page. I'm a little more consistent than I have been. Um, Complex Mind, Simple Man. You can just search for that. You will find me there. My logo is like a yellow and blue. And there's a microphone on it. You'll know when you find me, right? Because when you click on anything, it'll say "Thinking Out Loud" is like most of what my title things are. So please come check me out. I ain't got like 66 subscribers. So now that I'm actually trying to like be more consistent, mainly I'm gonna tell you real talk. The main reason why I'm a little bit more consistent than I have been is because losing my brother really did tell me, hey, I need to get this out of my head and talk. losing Marlon was really a catalyst for me. And I started recording right before I knew that he was gone, because something just told me to start. And so that's why I'm doing it, right? So for now, you can catch me on Fridays, usually, most times. But once band season starts back up for my kids, Friday won't work. So then I'll move into Saturday on a more consistent thing. Yeah. Cool. Run, Tracy, run.
I'm going to concentrate on the drama camp. That's where my concentration is going to be. That's where my focus is going to be. Tracy is good. Parker, no, you didn't. Tracy is going to teach the uncovered true story of the Wizard of Oz that depicts Dorothy as the murderer she is. LOL. See, I could start talking about the play itself, but that's now that you got me. Thank you, Parker, for making you talk about it. The play is called The Born Again Identity. Music,
The
songs,
Born
and dance.
Identity?
The
So
Born
is
Identity.
the Born Again Identity. So are you like
The Born Again Identity?
You like doing espionage and killing people and stuff?
It is espionage. There's 14 spies that try to decipher the conversation between Jesus and Nicodemus. That's the synopsis. Brief.
Jesus talked to Nicodemus?
Jesus and Nicodemus. He came by night. John chapter 3. Read the whole chapter.
I like it. Cool. I hope you have fun with that.
Yeah, so that's where my concentration. Not gonna be running for city camp. Not now. I'm not gonna say never, but not now. The drama camp is my focus, but that's going to be my focus. That means again, it's going to affect this show because that August 16th. Don't come looking for me. Just like Wednesday, when that Thursday I had that NFL draft special. I was like, look, yeah, this ain't gonna be the show for you. But remember, there are 103 days. 103 days until the NFL returns. And the selection, the schedule preview, is going to be Wednesday the 14th at 8 o'clock. So I might go live. I probably won't because all I'm looking for is who the 49ers play. I know we play our first game in Australia. And then after that, I don't know. But anywho's, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And I will this Saturday be talking about a topic I've been wanting to talk about forever and a day. Word salad politicians. If y'all don't stop with this word salad, y'all about to get on my last nerves with that mess. Stop it. But I will have a countdown of the politicians that I believe have word salad.
Are you talking about that interview that Jon Favreau had with the head of the DNC? Oh, that was fun.
Ooh, child.
You got to learn the
Parker,
lessons. You got to learn the lessons.
Parker, I don't care flips about soccer. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Blah. But football. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. One more time for memory. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Join me this Thursday as I believe I'll be just doing a fly topic. It'll be about third parties, but my guest isn't quite there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Parker, for commenting. Thank you, Theas, for showing up. I will see you all this Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Have a fantastic Sunday. And at 103 days, I'll be saying go Niners. See you when I see you. Bye-bye.